You girls ready for chapter 2?
Yeah.
Okay, lay down. Okay. The Fog Diver, chapter 2. Oh, that's not a very big chapter, is it? Let's see, how long is chapter 3? Oh boy. Let's see, we'll do chapter 2, and if you girls stay awake, we'll jump into chapter 3. Okay? Okay, are you ready? Okay. Lay down. Our salvage raft was a hodgepodge of mismatched parts and tattered patches. It floated above the fog, dangling from 3 balloons lashed together with fraying ropes. A wicker basket swayed in the tangled rigging beneath the balloons. The crow's nest where Hazel usually stood. Below that, the raft itself was a weather-beaten deck of canvas, wooden floorboards, and copper pipes. The winch for my tether rattled beside my diving plank, and farther back Swedish spun the ship's wheel and clattered at the steam organ that controlled the rudders and propellers. Under the deck, Bee tinkered with the clockwork engine that powered the fans and pistons and vents, and hanging below the whole thing, the empty cargo net swayed in the stiff breeze. It wouldn't be empty for long. That iron gate would cover food for a week or two, even after the bosses took most of the money. But we still needed a much bigger score to help Mrs. E. The tether winched me toward the underside of the raft, bringing me close enough to grab the boarding ladder. "Chess!" Bee called to me, with a smile on her freckled face. "You're okay!" "Of course." I struck a pose on the ladder. "For I am Freakula, Lord of the Fog." She giggled. "You're a chucklebutt. How come you stayed down so long?" "I found something," I told her. "Float? A buoy?" She flashed a salute and disappeared into the gearwork. It was too late to grab that iron gate today, so she marked the site with a buoy, and we'd return tomorrow, after drifting all night. We couldn't hover in one place overnight, not without a pilot at the wheel, and even Swedish needed to sleep. I climbed on deck, shoved my goggles to the top of my head, and started unbuckling my harness. "Next time, come up when I tell you to," Hazel called from the crow's nest. "Look at the sun." From above, the fog usually looked like an endless ocean with motionless white waves, but now the orange light of sunset brushed the high crests. "Sorry," I said. "I got busy." "Doing what?" she asked. "You look messed up." Chess always looked messed up, Swedish said from the wheel. "I got into a fight," I admitted. Hazel frowned. "Are you okay? Was it wolves?" Swedish asked. "Baboons?" "Worse," I told him. "Not drift sharks," Hazel said, giving me a worried look. "Of course not," I said. "You don't fight drift sharks. You just die." "Hyenas?" Swedish gasped. I didn't want to tell them. I'd lost a perfectly tasty goose. "I found an iron gate that's in good shape, and I'm pretty sure I smelled roses nearby." "Finally!" Hazel brightened, forgetting that I looked a mess. I knew that flying this far would pay off. We'd grab everything in sight and make enough to help Mrs. E. "If the troopers don't arrest us first," Swedish grumbled. "Nobody's going to arrest us," Hazel told him. "They will if Lord Kotick hears about chess." I swallowed. Lord Kotick was more than the tyrant who ruled the rooftop and commanded the roof troopers. He was the reason we lived small and quiet in a remote corner of the slum. Everyone with half a brain was scared of Lord Kotick. But it was different for us. He was the boogeyman Mrs. E had scared us with since we were little, the monster in all of our nightmares. She said that if Kotick found us, he'd tear us apart. "Yeah," Hazel said, But he won't. He doesn't even know chess exists. Not yet, Swedish muttered darkly. You've heard the rumors. Get back in bed. I ducked my head. Swedish was right. We needed to escape the slum and find a cure for Mrs. E's fog sickness, but also to get away from Lord Goddock. He thought I'd died 13 years ago after he'd lowered my mother into the fog. Recently, though, we'd heard a terrifying rumor about a kid with a fog eye. If Kotick found out I survived, he'd hunt me down. Vivian, lay back in bed. He'd lock me to a tether and dangle me in the white until the fog killed me. Hazel shot Swedish a dirty look, then turned back to me. Vivian, do you want me to keep reading? Okay, I need you to be quiet. Okay? Hazel shot Swedish a dirty look, then turned back to me. So what'd you get in a fight with? Apparently she hadn't forgot about me looking messed up. Here, I tossed my sack to Swedish. Dinner. He peered inside. You got in a fight with dandelion greens? I sighed. Fine, it was a goose. I got in a fight with a goose. From behind me, I heard Bee's familiar giggle, and she teased me while Swedish started dinner. He soaked the greens in rainwater, tossed the last of our seagull jerky into the broth, and simmered the whole thing over an exhaust vent. I plopped down under the balloons while the soap cooked. Feeling drowsy and content, I'd follow the scent of roses tomorrow, and with my luck, I'd find a drawer of silverware, or even, in my wildest dreams, a cabinet full of unbroken wine glasses. Annabelle, you need to be quiet, okay? Yeah. Thank you. I'm just going to finish this chapter, okay? I don't think you girls can make it through the next chapter tonight, okay? Rich people on the upper slopes of the rooftop paid huge for stuff like that. Hazel sat beside me, glazing at the sunset, her braids falling around her shoulders, and Bee fiddled with a handful of wires. She made figurines out of cables and wire, what she called twisties, miniature people, airships, and animals. She handed me a twisty of a cute little bird. Here, what's this? I asked, even though I already knew the answer. A chickadee? A silly goose, she said, like you. Swedish poured the soup into bowls and handed them around. A rabid goose? Nothing else could beat Jess. It probably had fangs, Hazel said, and glowing red eyes. Bee wiped her mouth with her sleeve and asked, what really happened? She had baby geese with her, I admitted. They kept looking at me with their big eyes. I just couldn't. You fog face, Swedish grumbled. We could be eating roast goose right now. Of course Jess couldn't kill her, Bee told him. She's a mother. She had babies. Swede grunted. They're probably all adopted. We're all adopted, Hazel reminded him. Sure, he said, but we're not delicious. Okay, that's the end of chapter 2. Tomorrow, chapter 3. Okay? Okay? Yeah, okay.